Michelle Donelan, Secretary of State for Science, Innovation and Technology, with us now. Also a new mum. Congratulations. How's Noah doing?
He's doing very well. Hopefully he's watching at home.
That's mummy on the telly. Maybe not quite. He's what, 4 months old?
4 months, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be before you know it. Talk to me about what's gone on with this escaped prisoner.
I know people will be really worried. I spoke to the Justice Secretary about this, who has been gripping it. He's spoken to the governor of the prison. I know an investigation has been launched into how could this happen. I'm sure a lot of lessons will be learned. But the top priority at the moment, of course, is finding this individual.
What questions will we have for the governor this morning?
I think it's how has this happened?
How could it possibly have happened?
Well, exactly. I mean, it is very rare for prisoners to escape, but it is absolutely unacceptable. It's my understanding that the police are saying they don't think he's a threat to individuals, but I know it must be extremely worrying, especially for those that are in the community around the prison. But I think it's in the last few years there's been 5 that have escaped. So it is very rare. So I do want to reassure the public of that. But there's certainly an investigation into trying to
yeah, but he's on terror charges. Why on earth was he not in a Cat A prison?
That's going to be looked at. I don't think it's as black and white as that in terms of the category of prison that you automatically go into. Well, but that will be looked at.
Security levels, isn't it?
No, that is going to be looked at. There is an investigation underway. But as I said, top priority is finding this individual and putting him back in prison.
OK. Crumbling prisons, not enough staff. Another example of broken Britain is what Labour's saying about the Tories this morning.
Well, in terms of upgrading the prison estate, that's something that we are undertaking to increase the number of prison capacity by 20,000. We've also increased the number of frontline prison officers by 20% from June 22 to 23. So that's a staggering figure. That shows that we are taking this seriously and addressing that. But I don't think you can join the dots between the two. As I said, it is extremely rare for prisoners to escape. And by the account that I've heard, it sounds like this individual has gone above and beyond and somehow found a way out that we need to ensure does not happen again.
So you're saying there are more prison staff? So why are there so many shortages? Why, on average, can they not fill half of the shifts?
What I'm saying is that we recognise there was an issue. We're dealing with it. Already to date, we've increased the number of frontline prison officers by 20%. We know there's an issue with prison capacity. That's why we've got a programme to upgrade our prison estate and to increase capacity by 20,000. So these are problems that we have also identified that we are addressing.
One day last December, they couldn't fill a third of the shifts at this particular prison.
I can't verify that statistic or not, but I know that this is something that is a focus by the Justice Secretary and the government at large, and it is something that we are alive to. But I really don't think we should be politicising the escape of this individual. It is extremely rare for a prisoner to escape. Top priority needs to be finding them. Then an investigation to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and asking why he shouldn't have been in Belmarsh rather than where he was?
Well, that will take part in the investigation, and I know that is one of the questions that the Justice Secretary is looking into.
Ultimately, whose responsibility is it to make sure that prisoners can't get out?
Well, obviously, it is the prison in which they're in and the prison officers. The government plays a role as well in setting the processes that should be in place, and I'm sure that the investigation will highlight how this individual managed to get out and how we can prevent that happening again.
Talk to me about our piece by Jason Farrell. I'm sure you're across that. The young woman that we spoke to said that sex offenders are still serving as police officers. There is a 14-year-old strip searched, no adult there, because they thought that she was concealing a vape. There's going to be a review that is being held, the Baird review. Does that need to be widened?
Well, I think, first of all, I saw your report as well and the work that you've done into this, and it is horrific hearing those stories from those young women and what their accounts of what they've been through. And that is exactly why the Home Secretary has already taken actions to enable rogue police officers to be sacked, to upgrade the training that police officers are getting as well. And the IPOC are looking into all these matters that have been brought to their attention. And it's important that, if anybody goes to the police or is taken into custody, that they're treated with dignity and respect and the correct procedures are followed.
You're a mum.
I am.
14-year-old strip searched.
It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable if you're 14, if you're 15, or the age is not the important thing here.
Well,
the reality is, no, but what I'm saying is it is completely unacceptable. Completely. It would be unacceptable the way that this account has been relayed if this person was 20 years old by the way the account is. Yeah, it is not OK. And that's why it's being looked into. That's why the Home Secretary has already taken actions to make sure that we have the very best people serving in the police force, and we are ridding it of any of these types of individuals that shouldn't be there. But I do think, we should also note that the vast majority of police officers are hard-working, dedicated individuals that spend their entire career serving the British people. And I think they too will be very upset to hear these stories coming out.
Talk to me about Horizon.
Yes, so this is a fantastic news, not just for British scientists and researchers and businesses, but also the British taxpayer, because what we're announcing today is a great deal, a deal that many said we wouldn't be able to get. So what we did was we didn't just accept the deal on the table, we created a bespoke deal working with the EU, one that will enable our scientific community and businesses to have access to the world's largest research collaboration programme, but also it gives us value for money for the taxpayer. So, for instance, we're not paying for the years that we didn't associate. There's also a clawback mechanism. So if there was a situation where we weren't getting as much out of it as we were putting into it, that could automatically kick in. And the really good thing as well is we've managed to achieve in there that we have an overperformance indicator. So it means that if we overperform, we're not penalised. So we can really back our British scientists to achieve here.
Is it mission creep to get back into the European Union?
No. So when we signed the...
Are you sure?
Yes. When we signed the TCA, we actually signed up to associate with Horizon. What happened, really unfortunately, was the EU then linked Horizon with the Northern Ireland Protocol, which was never the agreement. We tried to appeal that for 2 years, and we didn't get anywhere. The Prime Minister then unlocked it by producing the Windsor Framework. I went to Brussels back in March, and since then we've gone through a period of intense negotiation. And it should be noted that during that period of 2 years, we didn't leave our scientists in the lurch. What we did was we backed them with a Horizon guarantee to bridge the gap. But what this deal now does is provide the certainty that they need and access to world-class facilities and that collaboration so that they can go about doing research into things like your previous story on sickle cell disease, also into things like climate change.
You have been watching this morning.
I have. Into things like climate change. This is for the benefit of all of our country that we have managed to secure this deal.
Good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.